Hello, everybody. Today is March 10th, 2023. This is Rust Belt Perspective here, and today we are going to be taking a look at the 2024 Senate race in Arizona. And right now, it kind of seems to be the most interesting one because this may not just be your typical one-on-one matchup. Looking at the history of this seat real quick before we dive too deep into it. Arizona, for a while there, was a Republican state. Back in 1994 here, when this seat was up several cycles ago, former Senator John Kyle, a Republican, won it big by 14 points. 6 years later, in 2000, he won re-election big time. The Democrats didn't even field a candidate to challenge Kyle. 2006, very much a blue wave year amid George Bush's, the Republican president's, unpopularity. John Kyle won by almost 10 points despite that. 2012, Kyle retired and Senator Jeff Flake came in, and despite the fact that you see blue all across the map, the Republicans still won this wide open race in Arizona. But in 2018, after Donald Trump stood up for the Republican Party, this state narrowly went to Kristen Sinema, who to this day is the incumbent. And a lot of this can be backed by the presidential elections. You see 2000 likely red state, 2004 likely red, 2008 likely red, 2012 likely red, 2016 it gets to be a lighter shade of red when Donald Trump takes over. In 2020, Joe Biden was able to flip it, though it was narrow. But that kind of goes to show the Trump Republican Party does not appeal to Arizona, and the Democrats have already capitalized that in 2018 and are looking to do it again in 2020. Or 2024, excuse me. But the thing is, Senator Sinema is very much unpopular. One of the most unpopular ones in the country, certainly unpopular in the state of Arizona. But this past December, she changed her party to independent. And that shakes things up a bit here because now that creates a divide within the party, because with her being independent, she can still run for this Senate race, and her name can appear on that ballot because no matter what, because she's the incumbent, and she does not have to win a primary anymore if she's not a part of the Democratic Party or any party for that matter. And she kind of did this knowing how unpopular she was. She's unpopular because she likes to vote with the Democrats a lot. Or she likes to vote against the Democrats a lot in the Senate, teaming up with the Republicans, and it really has cost the Democrats recently because of their narrow majorities in Congress. So when just one person such as Sinema flips, it's a big deal for the Democrats. So you can kind of see here some approval ratings of her based on before and after her party switch. She is more approved of by the Republicans now that she did switch her party, but the thing is, the Republicans would still rather have their own person as opposed to Senator Sinema. When she did switch independent, she still caucuses with the Democrats in the Senate. She's not with the Republicans. So yeah. And it's gone so far to where there's a Replace Sinema project in Arizona. Sure, you can argue this is kind of stupid. It really doesn't seem to amount to a lot here. But even the fact that this is even a thing goes to tell you all you need to know about how unpopular she is in the state of Arizona. Like, the Democrats want her out of there. They know they can win with somebody else. And they already have their candidate in place. So coming back here to the first page, Reuben Gallego, U.S. Representative from Arizona's 3rd Congressional District, is absolutely the front runner here. He's already declared that he's going to run, and he is the person that it looks like the Democrats are happily going to back. He already has started receiving some endorsements, especially from his colleagues in Arizona that are also U.S. representatives. And a blow for the Republicans is that their former governor, Doug Ducey, who was popular in Arizona at least, has decided that he is not going to run. You can see that under declined here. Because A lot of that has to do with the fact that he did not take kindly to Donald Trump's Republican Party too much. In 2020, Ducey here is one of the state level Republican officials that Donald Trump tried to pressure to overturn the state's results in his favor, and Ducey said no. So Donald Trump would probably be viciously attacking Ducey here if he were to run, which is a blow for the Republicans because he is popular in Arizona and would totally be their best candidate to put up. Some candidates that could end up running: Kari Lake, she ran for governor of Arizona in 2022 and lost to Katie Hobbs narrowly, and flipped that governorship, who it was previously held by Ducey. She is a product of Donald Trump, and as I just outlined earlier, that is not a good thing in Arizona. Same with Blake Masters here. He was the 2022 Senate candidate up against Mark Kelly, the other Arizona senator, and he lost to Senator Kelly. Also a product of Donald Trump. A lot of the same things can be said about him and Kari Lake, but those are two of the ones that have already publicly expressed interest, though they have not formally declared. The major political sources are all calling this a toss-up, and when we look at the polls here, every single poll has, on the Democratic side, has Representative Gallego there, so it's almost a foregone conclusion that he will be the Democratic nominee. There's no real threat to that. And looking at the polls, Gallego is winning most of these. See, Ducey comes within 4 points of him, but he's not. Ducey has announced that he's not going to run, which is really a big blow for the Republicans. Looking at a lot of the other ones, Gallego is winning most of them, but you see Kari Lake is close with him in some of these polls, like 50 to 45, 48 to 47. Taylor Robson was within a few points of him here. But what's interesting here is when we look at Senator Sinema, when she's included in these, because that seems to cause a split here, and it kind of goes two ways. Here's one, for example. Gallego, 33%, Masters 24%, Sinema 22%. So obviously it seems to be taking away from both Gallego and Masters here, because if you look at another poll between Gallego and Masters, Gallego has 10 points less here. Masters has 8 points less. So clearly, if Senator Sinema were to run as an independent, yeah, it would obviously cause a divide in the Democratic Party, but it could also take Republican voters away too, because she is approved among the Republican Party as well, with how she is sided with them. So this may not just be your typical one-on-one race. It may be about who gets the plurality here. And right now, Gallego seems to be doing that with most of the polls. So he may seem to be the favorite right now, but it's so hard to tell how much Sinema would truly take away from him. And if you do look one-on-one, it gets a lot closer. Gallego and Lake are neck and neck here. As of recent, though, Gallego is winning some of the more one-on-one polls. But that by no means makes it a lock. This was just from one round of polling, and a lot can change between now and 2024. A lot of it will also depend on the national mood, if Biden can continue to rebound, if who the Republican presidential candidate is. That'll have a lot to do with it. If Biden does something else that makes his unpopularity rating become even worse. So there's a lot that can change here, but it's just, again, it's interesting because Sinema seems to be taking away from both parties here and makes this a three-dimensional race that becomes kind of hard to predict. Like Gallego and Ducey here. You got 37 and 31 versus 38 and 34. So Sinema takes away from both of them here. I'm assuming Sinema is also supposed to be a part of this poll because there's a lot of percentages taken away here. Even Blake Masters and Reuben Gallego takes away from that. So any Republican you put up, Sinema will take away from that Republican and Gallego. So again, it's really hard to predict who's going to come out on top here. So Yeah. You got an unpopular Democrat, you've got a blue shifting state, and you've got a popular Democrat who's wanting to take over. It calls for an interesting race here, a three-way race, and it's anyone's guess how it will go. That's all I got for today. This is Rust Belt Perspective, signing out.